Hey guys, it's the MetalBlade 5, and welcome back to another MetalBlade theory, where we have a somewhat spooky theory, as it's October. This time I have a theory about one of my favorite 3DS games, Kid Icarus Uprising. Specifically, the most mysterious character in the entire game, the Chariot Master. In Kid Icarus Uprising, many characters are based on characters from Greek mythology. For example, Pit is based off of Icarus, and Palutena is based off of Athena. But with the Chariot Master, it's not very obvious who from Greek mythology the Chariot Master is based off of, assuming that he is based off someone from Greek mythology to begin with. But I have a pretty good idea who it is. There have been a few theories as to who the Chariot Master could be, but the most famous one is Sugar Conroy's from his Let's Play of Kid Icarus Uprising, where he believes the Chariot Master is based off of Hercules, or Heracles if you're going by the proper Greek name. While Sugar does bring up some good evidence, I don't really believe the Chariot Master is Hercules, because, in my opinion, Magnus, another character from Uprising, is more likely to be based off of Hercules, as there is more concrete proof of it. But anyway, enough of the stalling. I think the Chariot Master is based off of Achilles.
Let's look at the evidence. Achilles was a Greek hero during the Trojan War, and if you look at the Chariot Master, he's wearing different sorts of armor, such as a helmet, a shoulder pad, and gauntlets, which is what someone would wear in a war at the time. Plus, the Chariot Master mentions suffering from war wounds, although I think these are emotional wounds rather than physical wounds due to what he says afterwards, and because of something I'll mention later on. The Chariot Master also mentions that he had many comrades that died. His comrades could potentially be soldiers who fought alongside Achilles during the Trojan War. Now, another important piece of evidence, which is why I said this theory is a bit spooky, is that Achilles was dipped in the river Styx to make him immortal, but his mother was holding on to him by his heel, which meant that his heel was vulnerable, which is what killed him when he was shot in the heel by an arrow by Paris, which is where the term Achilles' heel comes from. And if you look at the Chariot Master, he looks a lot like a ghost, and he even confirms it himself when he says his soul grows thin, as well as the fact that he passes away after Pit defeats him. Now, the thing about the Chariot Master that makes it really hard to determine who he could be based off of is the fact that he mentioned having a master who also died, but the identity of his master is unknown. In Sugar Conroy's theory, where he believes the Chariot Master is Hercules, he believed that his master was Zeus, as he is Hercules' father, and that the Chariot Master's death is a metaphor for how Greek mythology is just mythology. It's a pretty good metaphor, but I believe that the Chariot Master's master was Peleus, if I'm pronouncing that right, Achilles' father. Now, I know some people are going to be like, why would he call his father his master? Well, Peleus was the king of the Myrmidons, if I'm pronouncing that right, a group of warriors who fought alongside Achilles, so they could be the Chariot Master's comrades. So, it would be likely that Achilles' father would train him to become a warrior, where they would become a master and student relationship. Also, Peleus died just like the Chariot Master's master, and after his death, Achilles uses his father's spear in the Trojan War to honor his memory, along with his immortal horses. Now, the immortal horses are important, as the Chariot Master's chariot is pulled by two unicorns, which, get this, are similar to horses, called Phos and Lux, who he mentions are the only reason he stayed as a ghost until Pit proved that he was worthy to use them. This would make sense, as Achilles would also treasure his father's immortal horses like the Chariot Master does with Phos and Lux, because they belong to his father. Going back to Sugar Conroy's theory, one of the pieces of evidence he uses to support the Chariot Master being Hercules was that he looks after the lightning chariot in the lightning tower, I guess, it doesn't have an official name, which would be connected to Zeus, who, as I mentioned earlier, is Hercules' father. This is also good evidence, but Achilles was recognized by Zeus and Poseidon to be an incredibly strong and skilled warrior in a prophecy before he was born, which said that he would become stronger than his father. And as we mentioned earlier, Peleus was the king of a bunch of warriors, so he would already be very strong. So Zeus, or another god, could have chosen him to guard the lightning tower and the lightning chariot after he died because he was a strong warrior. Now, for the final piece of evidence, which I think is the most important piece of evidence of them all, the most notable of all of Achilles' feats is killing the warrior Hector outside the gates of Troy during the Trojan War. And a very famous illustration of this shows Achilles holding Hector's head while dragging the rest of his corpse with a chariot being pulled by 2 horses. Sound familiar? So, there you go. There's my evidence to suggest that the Chariot Master is based off of Achilles, assuming that he is based off of someone from Greek mythology to begin with. Now, as I say in every video, this is just a theory, not facts, so don't take this as a confirmation of the Chariot Master's identity.